Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be bringing you the results for WWE Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Grand Slam Mexico. A very mixed bag of a week. I'll get into it. I enjoyed Power. I enjoyed AEW immensely. WWE was the problem, and I'll get into it in a little bit. So grab yourself whatever snack foods you want, and let's get into it with Monday Night Raw, where we get a video recap of last week's Liv Morgan Nikki Bella confrontation, which yeah, I was initially excited for Nikki Bella's return, but with what happens, we'll see what happens. So we start out Raw proper with a Dominic Mysterio Liv Morgan promo, and Dom gets treated kind of like a hero. That's great to see. So Liv gets on the microphone first. Dom is holding the microphone, his own microphone. We'll hear from him in a minute. So Liv says, "Tonight, it's not about me." No, this is actually Dom first. "Tonight isn't about me. Tonight is all about you." Liv says, "Thank you. Respect is all I'm out here all about, to talk about. Talk about my division. Talk about Nikki Bella getting what she deserved last week. And Io talking up Nikki like she's some gift to the women's division. Well, I paved my own way, and it makes me the greatest tag team champion of all time. I'm not asking for your respect. I'm demanding it. And now I'm also going to demand... Oh, God. The rematch that I never got for the World Women's title. And Io, you can come out here. We can do this the easy way or do it the hard way. So Io comes out. She grabs a microphone pretty much from... looked like from a fan, honestly. So, Io says, "Liv, all you ever do us a favor and shut your mouth. All you do is whine and disrespect the other women in the division. You want a piece of me? I'm right here." So Liv kind of squares up to Io, then says, "I only want to fight if it's for your title. I've beaten you many times before, so why don't you just hand me the title right now?" She does the give it to me motion. So Io gets back on the microphone and says, "You want it? You gotta earn it. You can't steal it like you stole Dom from Maria." Oh, wow. That's a deep cut. Then Dom kind of chimes in and says, "Just give Liv what she wants." Liv then, like a... She sound like Veruca Salt from, what's Willy Wonka? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Not Willy Wonka. So, Liv says, "Just give it to me. Listen to Dom. Hand me the title." Io says, "You want it? Alright, you can have it." So Io tosses the title to Liv. Liv catches it. There's a bit of a beat. Then Io just drop kicks Liv right in the mush. And after a couple kicks, Dom and Liv bail. So, yeah, that was definitely a very interesting opening segment. Setting up, I'm gonna guess either it's gonna be SummerSlam, because I think the plan for Liv was, keyword, Nikki Bella, or at least the Bella twins, and they're gonna defend the tag titles. But that has since changed. Little spoiler alert. So then we have a Raw card rundown, previewing what's going on this week, including the King and Queen of the Ring first round matchups, couple of promos we're going to get, etc., etc. Then we see Raquel and Liv. They're just kind of chatting backstage. I did miss, like, the first part of it, although I think the camera did too. So then, Raquel to Liv says, "Don't worry, I got this." And then Liv, with kind of a dour look on her face, says, "Alright, go get him." So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. But our first match, and it took a little while to get here, but here we are. It's our first Queen of the I believe it's the last first round matchup of the Queen of the Ring tournament. We got Stephanie Vaquer, great wrestler, one half of the women's tag team champions, Raquel Rodriguez, Ivy Nile, and a returning Asuka, who it kind of has like the clown face paint get up again, which she did before she joined up with Damage Control. So, I guess she's rolling babyface now, which definitely not a bad idea. So, this was definitely a solid opening matchup. A lot of really good energy. Ivy Nile didn't really meshed well with everybody. She definitely fit in here. About kind of halfway through, Raquel hits the Tejana bomb, gets the 1, gets the 2, then someone grabs her, pulls her out of the ring. It's Rhea Bloody Ripley. And then Rhea hits a Riptide on Raquel. And then Asuka with the Empress Jetpack, which is her new name for the hip attack move she does, which, not a bad name for a finish, but it's a little weird, to pick up the win in her return match. I'm going to say this might be a little controversial. I kind of want Asuka to win Queen of the Ring. Like, I think that would set her up really, really well for the future. And honestly, match with Io at SummerSlam, that could easily be SummerSlam Night 1 main event. So, post-match, we get a little Asuka interview. It's short, sweet, to the point, with Asuka saying, "The fire didn't die, it's still awake. I'm going to be your Queen of the Ring, because no one is ready for Asuka." I missed Asuka so much. Her energy, her aura. I'm going to say it. She's got more aura than a lot of women these days. And I'm ready to see her win Queen of the Ring. So then we get a video recap of last week's main event, which was, I forget what it was. Anyway, so then we see Judgment Day. They're all in the clubhouse. And in the back, you can see 2K. I'm going to say 2K25 playing on the big screen. Miss you, Carlito. So everyone's just kind of chatting. Then Liv walks in saying, "We got company tonight." So Roxanne Perez walks in, says, "Well, I just went and let myself in." Then Finn says to Liv, she could help us win. Tom then says, I got so many people gunning for my title. I was supposed to do this for... Finn then says, you were supposed to do this for yourself. Tom then says, I think you're right. No, this is Liv now. I think you're right. You should watch JD's back tonight. So JD and Dom leave. Then we see JD turn to Raquel and say, you look good out there. Then Raquel says to her, Liv said she doesn't want you. To Raquel. So Liv and Raquel leaving Roxanne to kind of fend for herself. That was a little bit of a weird kind of promo. They need to shit or get off the pot with this Judgment Day breakup. It is taking way too long. And then we get to part 1 of probably the worst Monday Night Raw ever. We get a Gunther promo. And no, that's not why it's bad. That's coming. So Gunther gets in the ring. He says, at WrestleMania, I'm man enough to admit at WrestleMania, Jey Uso was the better man for one night. And every other night, I'm untouchable. And I've heard all the rumors about what's next for me. And as soon as I said that, I'm like, fudge. I'm not going to say the F-bomb. So then we get a little Goldberg chant. So Gunther plays it up. Oh, it's definitely not him. He learned his lesson back in Atlanta at Bad Blood. I don't care what the rumors state. I care about reality. Seth, I have what you want. And when I win this title, you said when I win this title, I'm a target. I'll make it easy for you. Why don't you come down here and take this? And as soon as he says that, Goldberg's theme hits. And I'm like, please be a fake out. Please be a fake out. Please be a fake out. But it's not. It's Goldberg. So Goldberg gets in the ring. He hobbles to the ring. Like, he clearly was not ready for tonight. So he gets the ring, says, don't be so confused. It's all good. Tonight is your night. I understand how you feel. But I wanted to put a note on tonight and congratulate you. Looks like he's about to get out the ring. Comes back in. And says, before I go, you started something with me at Bad Blood. And I'm going to make sure I end it in Atlanta, Georgia at Saturday night's main event. At Saturday night's main event, you're mine because you're next. So, if anyone's a little confused, that means we are getting Bill Goldberg once again challenging for the World Heavyweight title against Gunther. And I am just... So, look, I'm going to say this forefront. I don't hate the legends. I don't really hate Bill Goldberg. I hate the overuse of legends. Like, right now, we got John Cena back. We got R-Truth, although he's not really a legend. We got Nikki Bella rolling around right now. And now we got Goldberg. And instead of building up a worthy challenger for Gunther, or for any other champion, we're bringing in legends. And it's something that I really didn't like in the original Vince McMahon regime, and I don't like it now. So I'm going to say this to Triple H. once Saturday night's main event and Evolution are done, let's give the spotlight to the current main roster guys. That's it. That is all I want. That is all I ask for. You want to have a legend cameo every now and again? That's fine. But make sure he's there to put someone over. That's it. That's it. That's all I want. So, I'm going to move on from this before I get really heated. As we move into our next matchup, as we get JD McDonough versus AJ Styles. And yeah, this match absolutely ruled for no reason at all. These two guys got some great chemistry. It kind of felt like a piece of the TNA X division when AJ was champion. Although AJ isn't moving like that these days, but that's fine. Yeah, JD multiple times blocking the Styles Clash, which that looked crazy. After a headbutt brainbuster combo, only getting a 2 count. AJ was about to hit a superplex, but Dom gets up on the apron, distracts Styles. JD goes for a suplex. That gets blocked into a little arm drag thing, straight into a Styles Clash for a win for AJ Styles. So, yeah, Dom kind of failing to help his teammates. We'll see what that does. So Dom gets in the ring. He grabs his Intercontinental title, goes for the belt shot. AJ ducks it, hits a Pele kick. AJ was about to hit him and get him in either the calf crusher or the Styles Clash, but Finn Balor comes out, grabs him, drags him up out of the ring, but Dom leaves something in the ring. It's the Intercontinental title. AJ bends down, picks it up, and holds it over his head. I would not mind another AJ Styles Intercontinental title run. I think that would be a lot of fun. So then we see Finn, JD, and Dom kind of regroup on the top of the ramp. They then start to surround the ring. But then AJ sees an opening, goes for it, and walks off holding the title. So, AJ currently holds the Intercontinental title, but he is not the champion. So, we'll see that get resolved a little later. So next we see Sheamus. He's using one of those workout things that you do in like hallways or something. The little pull straps. Then in walks the Alpha Academy. So right now that's Akira Tozawa, Maxine Dupree, and Natalya for whatever reason. I think the rumor is Natalya and Maxine are going to be a tag team going forward. Which, not a bad idea considering, WWE doesn't have many women's tag teams. So we hear Maxine Dupree and Sheamus chatting. Oh, you've got this big match tonight. I hope you get it done. Sheamus says to them, well, Rusev just needs a little tough love now. He'll be good. And before Sheamus can walk off, Tozawa says, Sheamus! Sheamus gives him a little look down. Kick his ass. Where has this Tozawa been? Like, dang. It's about time Tozawa shows a little personality. So, little setup for the King of the Ring first round tournament match a little later on. But first, we get a Bayley in-ring promo. Which, definitely good to see Bayley back. I've definitely missed her. And apparently she missed us, which is funny. She says, feels great to be back in here doing what I love to do. And guys, you know the classic line. You don't know what you have till it's gone. And every time I get the opportunity, I revel in it. This is what was most important to me. And 2 months ago, I was stripped of an opportunity. I was robbed of a WrestleMania match. But lucky for me, I didn't come out here losing sleep, putting my body on the line for just one night. So Becky Lynch, you think you can take me out of WrestleMania? You think taking me out of WrestleMania hurt me? It didn't. It made me stronger. You may have said how much of a chip on my shoulder. That ate at me. I'm coming right for you, and I'm taking everything from you. So get out here now. So this brings out Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch, who says, I always been the chip on my shoulder. We've always been destined to be on top of the division. But you wonder about legacy. Would rather a legacy than punk friends. So Bayley says, I have my legacy. And I don't mind bringing others up with me. Because I fight for them. Becky replies, you fight for the people? The people stopped fighting for us. When I won at WrestleMania 35, no one cared about you. Everyone here sees you're so... this is Bayley now. Everyone here sees you're so insecure. You didn't know how they'd react to you coming back. So you take out me, then you take out Lyra for the Intercontinental title. And you were cheered for that. I remember what it was like to fight for opportunities. Do you not remember what it's like to fight for opportunities? Bayley says, no, I don't. Do you remember what gold feels like? Bayley then kind of gets up in Becky's face and says, no. Remind me. So Becky backs off, says, oh, you want a little match? You'll get a little match, but not here and not for the title. So Becky looks like she's about to leave. She gets back in the ring, goes for a cheap shot. Bayley blocks it, and then she just kind of cold cocks Becky Lynch with a straight right. So yeah, that was a little intense. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to say this. Women's Intercontinental title feud has been probably one of the more interesting feuds I've ever seen. We'll see how Lyra factors into this. But, yeah, this has definitely been interesting. So next we get a little Jey Uso interview. He's somewhere in the arena. I'm not sure. So he calls tonight's King of the Ring tournament match very important. And when I won the title first, I got respect. But now it was one-on-one. Now I gotta run through the King of the Ring to get another shot. But I'll do it. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. Which, yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of that. Anyway, we see Nick Aldis. He's walking around in the back. Runs into AJ Styles. AJ Styles then hands over the Intercontinental title. Aldis, thank you for returning this. But this is some good news because at Night of Champions, it's going to be you and Dom for this title. So you have an opportunity to keep it. AJ kind of nods at Aldis. Walks off. Looks like Aldis was about to walk off until Bayley runs in. She's huffing and puffing. I want Becky. So Aldis reveals it's already been made official and you're owed a title match. So next week it's going to be Bayley versus Becky for the Women's Intercontinental title. So then we kind of ditch Aldis. We see Bayley kind of walking. It looks like some kind of loading area in the back, and she runs into Lyra Valkyrie. And Lyra's kind of got a little dumbfounded look on her face, saying, "Hey, welcome back." Bayley's like, "Now's not the right time." Then Lyra says, "I know you're doing what's best for you. I'm going to go do what's best for me." Which makes me think we're going to see Lyra turn on Bayley. Which I don't know if that's such a good idea, because Lyra is finally getting some babyface reactions from the crowd. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing right now. So next is part 2 of the really bad stuff that happened on Raw this week. We got Kairi Sane versus Liv Morgan. They lock up. Kairi with what looks like a rough-looking takedown. Then we see Liv rolling out of the ring. She goes into the corner right near the barricade. She's got her hand on her shoulder and she's crying. Like it looks like she got hurt. So then we see the docs check on Liv. Kairi's kind of just doing stuff in the ring. Next thing we see is Liv Morgan being led out of the arena by officials. So match technically thrown out. It turns out she got a little... I'm not 100% sure what the injury is, but it is 100% real. I hope Liv gets better as soon as she possibly can. And I guess this throws a little monkey wrench into Evolution plans. Because from what I've seen, they were going to do the Bellas versus Liv and Raquel for the tag titles. So maybe that's not what's going to happen. So next we get a little John Cena CM Punk video package from not just the Raw before, but the SmackDown from the week before. So that was a nice little video package. We then hear from Michael Cole himself that Liv has suffered a dislocated shoulder, which takes some time to heal. So won't be seeing her at Evolution. We'll see about SummerSlam. I think that's maybe not out of the question, but it's right on that line. So next we see a Sami Zayn interview, who says, "I've talked about this title so much. The opportunity is right here in front of me, and something feels different." So then we see Karrion Kross walk in, saying to Sami, "Nothing is different, and I'll explain what happens. You're going to go to SmackDown this week, and you're going to lose to Orton. You're going to stay at 0. And you think I'm crazy? This is Sami now. You think I'm crazy for doing this? I think you're stupid. You hide in the shadows, because you can't back it up. I've talked a big game myself, and I picked myself back up after a loss. And I'm done hearing from you. The second I'm done with the King of the Ring, we are going to have this match." Sami walks off. Kross kind of turns to the camera and says, "It's about damn time." A Kross Sami Zayn feud sounds right. Like, that sounds like a lot of fun to me. So then we get a look at the rundown for next week's Monday Night Raw, which looks really good. And then we get our final first round matchup of the King of the Ring tournament. We got main event Jey Uso, Bronson Reed, Sheamus, and Rusev. And this was a hoss fight and a half. Like, Sheamus and Rusev always have some great chemistry, whether they're opponents or their teammates. Bronson Reed can pretty much beat the heck out of everybody, including hitting an Irish Curse backbreaker on Bronson Reed, which, that was impressive. Everyone hitting all kinds of stuff. Sheamus with the white noise for a 2 count. Rusev with a strong looking Uranagi. Jey Uso laying out the super kicks. Rusev then locks in the Accolade. But Jey Uso breaks it up. Sheamus with a bro kick, only for a 2 count because Bronson Reed with a senton on top of everybody. It's a big old tsunami on Sheamus, only gets a 2. Jey Uso with a spear and an Uso splash. He goes up for an Uso splash, but Braun Breaker comes out, pushes Jey off the top rope. But Sami Zayn comes out and attacks Braun. Braun takes advantage, including a military press slam onto the announce table. This brings out Penta, who attacks Braun. Then Bronson Reed with a Death Valley driver. He goes up for a tsunami. Then LA Knight pushes Reed off the top rope. Jey Uso with a super kick, a spear, and an Uso splash to pick up the win and move on in the King of the Ring tournament. Then this brings out Seth Rollins. He and his goons are about to beat up Jey Uso. Then out comes Cody Rhodes to make the save. He runs off the heels. Then Cody and Seth have a big old stare down, which... yes, please. Then Seth leaves the ring. We see Seth, Braun, Reed, and Heyman going up the ramp. Cody then helps Jey Uso up, and they have a little stare down because they face each other in the second round of the King of the Ring tournament. So, yeah, definitely some interesting narratives happening over here on Raw. It's a shame what happened to Liv Morgan. I hope she gets better soon. And I am going to say this. I am very much not excited for a Bill Goldberg match here in 2025. And honestly, this should be it. No more Bill Goldberg. Gunther should just run through him in seconds. That's it. Done. It shouldn't be harder than that. So that was Raw. Definitely a bit more of a mixed bag than the other shows. Which I'll definitely get to in a second. But yeah, definitely some 2 really bad downs. With the Liv injury and the Goldberg return. So, yeah, we're going to move on from this, and we are going to NWA Power, in which we have more of the Inspire Workshop segments, which, honestly, have been really, really interesting. We've gotten to see a bit more character moments with these. And this week it's been about microaggressions and gold, which, interesting topic. So, had a couple champions in there, had a couple non-champions in there too, and they're asking what they're afraid of. A lot of them said nothing, which, you know, that's definitely not realistic. Then we had Tom Latimer finish up last, which world heavyweight champion. Makes sense. Pretty much says, I'm deathly afraid of, going bald. Actually, no, that was that Carson Drake? I forget who that was. Who said that? Latimer says, I'm afraid of losing my title. Obviously. So, that definitely gets cut off. We're going to go back to that shop a little later. So just sit tight. But first, we get our first match of the evening, and it's a trios match. So 3-on-3, as we got the full team of the Lost. So that's Alex Misery, Lev, and Gags the Gimp, taking on Size Matters. So that's Sam Stackhouse, and Eric Smalls. I knew I forgot his name for a second. I'm sorry. Teaming up with Tyler Franks. And this match was pretty darn entertaining. A little quick from... It kind of felt like TNA's X Division from years ago. Except for, obviously, Sam Stackhouse, who was a big boy. Although he did hit a pretty impressive dive to the outside. Near the end, Franks attempts the torture rack. That gets blocked into a big old pile driver by Alex Misery for the win for the Lost. So, definitely a very interesting combination of players. We'll see what happens with the Lost in down the line, but they are definitely an interesting new group. So then we go for another Doth Today segment. So they're in Alabama, and the woman there is trying to not predict the weather, report on the weather. Then Joe Kazana walks in and says, look, I'd like to apologize for the last interview we did. That entire time, the woman's like, oh, we're live right now. Joe Kazana then starts getting a little mad. Look, I know we're live right now. I just want to apologize for you. What's more important, the news or my apology? So then the interviewer, the news reporter's like, I just want to get this done. Then Joe Kazana was like, look, I don't like being yelled at by my boss. The NWA's here. Joe Kazana then turns to the camera, says, the NWA is here, and I want to apologize to you in Alabama. Will you accept my apology? He turns then to the interviewer, says, yes, I accept your apology. Can we move on now? Joe Kazana then finishes off, says, look, you do nothing but sit here and belittle me. Please just forgive me. And then the segment ends. Joe Kazana is kind of a comedy character, kind of works. And it's kind of also a sniveling heel act, which doesn't always work for me, but when it does, it's honestly kind of fun. And I honestly did like that moment. It was very, while also tongue-in-cheek, it's also very, shows more of the character of Joe Kazana, which is always good. So next up, we got a very interesting kind of boss fight between Jay Bradley and Slex. If you don't know who Slex is, he was on the Australian tour. I want to say it was last year, and he was involved in a 4-way, I think it was for the TV title, and he really impressed. And honestly, he impressed here too. This was a fun, really good back and forth. Near the end of the match, Jay Bradley grabs his now chain, which I guess is his signature weapon, wraps up his arm. It looks like he's about to hit his big clothesline, but the ref stops him. So he drops the chain on the outside. Slikes goes for a big strike. That misses. Jay Bradley with some big strikes of his own. And then the boomstick to pick up the win. So then we see Jay Bradley pick up the chain and just kind of swing it around at all four corners of the ring. So I guess we're going to see Jay Bradley versus Wrecking Ball and Legursky soon, which that should be a fun one. So next we go back to the Inspire Workshop. We have the head person in there. And then we see, not La Rosa Negra, what's her name? I honestly forget her name. I apologize. She's the current women's TV champion. And it seems like she's flirting with him. Asking about some one-on-one time. And saying this is going to be working out great. So, yeah, very weird segment. I guess this guy is going to be her manager going forward. Which, could be interesting, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Then we get an Around the Territory segment, which is very cool. And now we go to our main event matchup. As it's the Temple of Doom, spelled D-U-U-M. So that's Beastman, who is just a load of a human being, teaming up with Rockwell something or other. I forget his name. I do apologize. Taking on Baron Von Storm and Brandon Beretta. Bit of a random team, but I'll roll with it. Yeah, this match was pretty much Sam Rockwell. That's his name. With Rockwell not really dominating, but getting some good stuff in against his opponents. Constantly going for the tag for Beastman. At one point, it did look like Beastman tagged in, but apparently not. So, Barrett takes advantage. Eventually, Beastman does get in. Hits a knee, hits an impressive crossbody. Then he grabs the big, dinosaur bone that's in the corner for him. Looks like he's about to hit Baron Von Storm. But the ref grabs it, takes it from Beastman. Storm in with some chops. But Beastman went in with a big splash, a cannonball. Then Rockwell gets in, and they hit the Pitfall, which is a great name for a finisher, by the way, to pick up a very interesting win. So at that point, Beastman goes into Rockwell's sack that he usually holds, takes out some treats, and just starts scarfing on him. At that point, Baron Von Storm's up, locks in the Iron Claw on Rockwell. Then Beastman tries to get in to save Rockwell after a minute. But then Beretta comes in. He has Storm's globe that apparently calms him down. He gives Storm the globe. And that just calms him down. So that was our main event match. We got one more segment. And it's the same shop we saw last week with Thrillbilly Silas Mason. But this time, it's Tiffany Nieves Kratos is already in there. Tiffany goes right to the shop. The dude working the register. He says, "Hey, are you the guy?" Register guy says, "I'm a guy." So Tiffany then says, "I don't have any time to waste. You like wrestling?" Register guy says, "Yeah, I do like wrestling." Then she says, "What can you tell me about wrestling?" So the guy says, "Well, I know you have a championship match coming up, but you don't have a partner. So I got this written down for you." So he slips the note to Nieves. She opens it up, sees the name, but we never get to see it. So then she sees it, gets a big old smile on her face. Then it comes down when she asks, "What about Miss Starr?" So the register guy says, "Oh, well, she's your manager now, right? That's what she does. She's the daughter of," I forget the name of the woman, of her mother, but she's like a famous manager. So Kratos walks in and says, "Look, you're telling me you're going to listen to this guy, but have you ever been in a fight?" Guy says, "No." Kratos then tells him, "Well, this isn't like one of your games. Why are you listening to him, Tiffany? You're a champion." So Tiffany's like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't need to listen to this guy." So she crumbles up the piece of paper, throws it at the guy's face, says, "Don't ever acknowledge me again." And she leaves right out the front door. So I don't know what this is supposed to be. I thought originally it was like either a drug den or something pertaining to steroids. This might be like an information guy. Like he knows about like opponents or whatever. Either way, it's very weird, and I kind of want to see where this goes. Because there's got to be an end game to this, right? Like, this is the second time we've seen this guy. And I just want to know who he is. Unless I'm, like, missing something and he's wrestled for NWA before. But, I don't think so. So, yeah, NWA was pretty fun. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we've got for the Crockett Cup. And for some other matches we may be seeing. So, definitely a very, very interesting show. And we finish up with AEW Grand Slam Mexico, which, I loved every single second of this. This was a ton of fun. We start off with our only promo of the night, which is very strange. It's Hangman Adam Page. And he comes out here, does his entire promo in Spanish for the crowd in Mexico, because they're in Arena Mexico. Now, I do not speak or understand Spanish. I do apologize. But either way, that was absolutely gas. Like, you can tell from the crowd the gist of what he was saying. But, yeah, that was something. So, next up, we got a 12-man tag, which was set up on Collision last week. As it was supposed to be FTR as a whole coming in, but apparently Cash Wheeler... Cash Wheeler wasn't there, so... It's Dax Harwood, Volador Jr., who I do know from TNA, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, Lance Archer, Josh Alexander of the Don Callis family, and Hench Zero, who I guess is an honorary member of the Callis family, taking on Bandito, Atlantis Jr. and Atlantis Sr., who got a weird reaction, man. I'll get into that. From what I understand. Then we get Brody King, who comes out in a F-Ice t-shirt, which, yes, my brother. Templario, who comes out with Atlantis and Atlantis Sr., Daniel Garcia, who got a really, really good reaction, and Adam Cole, baby. So, yeah, this was pretty much chaos incarnate, because in Lucha Rules, in tag matches, you really don't need to tag to come into the match, which it definitely showed here. And anytime Atlantis or Atlantis Jr. came in, they got heavily booed despite being baby faces. And the reason why, from what I understand, is that Atlantis Sr. does some of the booking for CMLL, especially for his son. And apparently, Atlantis Sr. books his son like Vince McMahon booked Roman Reigns' babyface run. Solo babyface run after the Shield broke up. So, yeah, apparently that's why he gets booed. Figure that out. That's actually kind of funny. Like, yeah, this match was just absolute chaos, and I loved every single moment. Then after some stomps and a roll-up by Atlantis Jr., so your winners are the babyface team. And, yeah, that did not make the crowd happy that Atlantis Jr. got the pin. Post-match, the heels attacked Atlantis. Post-match, Jr. and some other guys did make the save. But, yeah, that was definitely, that was pretty much chaos incarnate, and it was just fun. I'm going to say, go search it out for yourself and see what I mean. So next, we get a little recap of the Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada contract signing from the past week, which we're going to see that match at All In, and I am so hyped for it. Then we see our next match of the evening, one of two one-on-one matches. We got Mark Briscoe taking on Kazuchika Okada, non-title. And then we get a little picture-in-picture during Mark Briscoe's entrance, explaining to us why this match is happening. Which, I love that. That's great. With Mark Briscoe saying, I've been having Omega's back since the beginning. Well, now I'm going to have his back against you. So, yeah, this was definitely a really fun back and forth match. That it really didn't need to be. Near the end, they're pretty much blocking each other's finishers beat for beat. But after he missed J-Driller, Okada hits a pile driver, then unloads on Mark Briscoe with the Rainmaker to pick up the win. And then post-match, we see Okada celebrating. Don Callis gets in the ring. He was on commentary the whole time. He gets in and he just starts beating up Mark Briscoe post-match. Then Okada lifts up his Continental title, hits Mark Briscoe with it, and then they just start putting boots to him, which, honestly, that was a really, really fun little matchup. I just want to see Mark get a little push. Like, if there's someone that I feel like is underrated, deserves more spotlight, it's Mr. Mark Briscoe. So then, after that gets wrapped up, we get another one-on-one. Oh, there's 3. So, sorry. As we get MJF taking on Mystico. So, MJF comes out with the Hurt Syndicate. And then Mystico with a song I don't think I've ever heard before. But once it got started, the entire crowd started singing. In which, that was awesome. And if that doesn't show you how important and how popular Mystico is, you're either blind or you're stupid. So this match started off a little slowly, but eventually it did pick up with Mystico hitting a almost perfect Code Red. Then a dive fake out in which we see MVP talking with MJF. Mystico chases MJF around the ring. Gets right into the face of the Hurt Syndicate, which, that's ballsy there, Cotton. A little later on, we do see a cross body into a DDT from Mystico. But MJF rolls to the outside. Mystico follows him with a big old dive. Gets him back in. Hits a swanton. And then a moonsault. Whiffs on a moonsault. MJF with a power slam. Only for a 2 count. Mystico with a couple of chops. And then MJF just hawks a loogie at Mystico. Mystico then tries to run in. Little eye poke from MJF. Mystico returns fire with a super kick. And then a Code Red. Then a big kick for a 2 count. MJF looks like he's about to leave up the ramp. But then Mystico chases him. Attempts a La Mystica on the ramp. MJF blocks it. Hits a pile driver at the top of the ramp. Both men are out. So MJF eventually does get up, grabs the referee, gets him back in and tells him to start counting, but Mystico beats the 10 count. Mystico with a Spanish fly for 2. He hits La Mystica, but MVP ends up distracting the referee. Then MJF with a low blow to Mystico. Roll up for a 2. MJF then kind of begs off a little bit. Another low blow in which the ref sees it and calls for the bell, so the match gets thrown. Mystico technically wins by disqualification, but match pretty much thrown out. Lashley then gets in the ring, takes out the referee. Rest of the Hurt Syndicate attack Mystico. Then MJF rips the mask off of Mystico, which gets a chorus of boos. And then he gets up on the turnbuckle with the Mystico mask on. So now, if you don't know, Lucha culture, if you lose your mask, that's like the ultimate sign of disrespect. So, yeah, that's MJF the heel. Then that's happening. Bandito, Templario, and Titan run down the ramp, but stop at the ring, which is very interesting. As we got Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight entering the ring from the other side to fight off the Hurt Syndicate. So, definitely wondering where that's gonna. I'm gonna say we're probably gonna see Speedball and Kevin Knight get some tag title shots, which I am definitely all for. And Bailey and Knight, if you need a manager, I'm your boy. I can help you. So next up is what I feel like was a previously unannounced matchup, as we got Mascadora, the former Grand Metalik, Ricochet, Hologram making his return, and Lio Rush. And this is for, I think they said it was for like 1 million pesos, so it's one of these matches. Almost immediately, Lio Rush bails out to the outside. Hologram and Mascadora kind of team up on Ricochet for a bit. But then Lio Rush comes back in, helps Ricochet after a while. Then after a frog splash by Ricochet, Lio Rush grabs Ricochet by the head and just starts rubbing it. Which, of course, Ricochet doesn't like. So that's their breakup. Definitely some good lucha action after this. A couple of destroyers, some big dives. A crazy looking DDT, which looked very odd to me. Spanish Fly. Crazy looking super crucifix bomb. Bunch of Hurricane Ranas, frog splashes, drop kicks. But as Lio Rush was ready to unleash the Death Valley Driver, he was pushed into Ricochet for a roll-up attempt, only to get 2. Lio Rush attempts the cutter, but that gets caught into a portal bomb, which is a great name for a finisher, for your win for Hologram. Yeah, that was a really, really good, what felt like X Division style matchup, although I do love Lucha Libre. That was some dang good lucha. I do wish there was more to this match than just, money. But, I think the story of this is the building blocks for Ricochet getting his own crew together, which a lot of people have speculated was going to be Action Andretti and Lio Rush. Now I'm not 100% sure. So next up, we got a CMLL women's title match as Mercedes Moné takes on champion Zexus. Zeuxis. I do not know how to pronounce it. I do apologize. So Mercedes Moné extends her hand for Zexus, who pretty much kicks it away, which is always awesome. And they pretty much go right into it. That was absolutely nuts. Zeuxis attempts a cannonball that gets caught by Moné into a lung blower for a 2 count. She then locks in the statement maker, but Zeuxis ends up in the ropes. Moné with a Meteora, only for a 2. But then Zexus with a crazy looking Rana. Moné rolls out. Zexus with a sick looking dive. It looked like she hit the barricade on her way out. That looked a little rough. Got her back in. Hits a Spanish Fly off the top for a 2 count. Moné with the backstabber. Locks in the statement maker. But Zexus breaks out. It's a big old body slam for a 2 count. Moné attempts a run off the top. That gets blocked. Into a body slam off the top. But that also gets blocked. Into a crucifix bomb, kind of mid-air, for your win for Mercedes Moné. So Moné adding another title to the collection. And as she's celebrating and collecting all of her titles, something pops on screen. It's an old school, what feels like a detective noir scene from Tony Storm. when she's just talking a lot of smack from Monet, who's doing her best Dick Tracy impression, which is just like, that is so funny. Then, as the lights go on, we see someone pop up at the top of the ramp. It's Mina Shirakawa, which, super happy she's still hanging out with Toni Storm. Then we cut to the ring with Monet still kind of like a confused look on her face. We then see Toni Storm slips in behind Monet. Crowd goes absolutely nuts. She's got her detective gear on. She takes it off, grabs Monet by the waist, in which Monet thinks, oh no, gets a big old suplexed right over. Monet then bails out of the ring, runs up the ramp. Toni chases her up the ramp, eventually catches her, looks for a Storm Zero up on the ramp, but officials are out to break them up. Then Toni Storm eventually somehow gets a microphone, says, Mercedes, let the games begin. Oh, the mind games from Toni Storm are going to be so good. And I'm going to say this right to Tony Khan. This should be your all-in main event. No ifs, ands, or buts. As much as I've been liking this revamped Death Rider story, this is your main event. And actually, speaking of the main event, we now go to it with a 10-man tag. And no, I'm not just saying that. So representing the Death Riders, we got Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. The Beast Mortis, who is replacing Claudio Castagnoli due to travel issues, which, very fair. And they're also teaming up with the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas, as they take on the Trios champions, the Ops. So that's Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Will Ospreay, who is all taped up, still selling his injuries, and Swerve Strickland, which is very, very interesting. So yeah, right at the bout, it's Matthew and Ospreay starting out. Matthew sees Ospreay, is like, nope, turns right around, tags in Mortis. Which, honestly, moments like that are such great character moments. Like, we see the Young Bucks week after week talking shit, but obviously they can't back it up, so they gotta have minions. Which is, honestly, it's great. And honestly, this wasn't as chaotic as the opening match, but ooh boy, this was hard to keep track of absolutely everybody. And everybody pretty much got their stuff in. At one point, the Young Bucks did have Ospreay in position for the BTE trigger. Ospreay blocks it, does a double Oscutter to both of them. Yuta with a Busaiku knee to Ospreay. Goes to lock in the sleeper, gets blocked. But then Yuta with another Busaiku knee. Shibata with a penalty kick, which that looked really rough. Swerve and Moxley then get in. They're just kicking the tar out of one another. Eventually everyone else gets in and they just beat the heck out of each other. Swerve was going for the Swerve Stomp, but Matthew grabs him from the top rope. Shafir then distracts the referee. Mox with a big roll-up. For your winners, the Death Riders, the Young Bucks, and the Beast Mortis. So they get a big win for this pay-per-view. The heels then just start beating on the faces. Like, just beating them down, leaving them ragged. Then whose theme song hits? it's Adam Page. He makes the save. He's running out there. He and Moxley brawl for a little bit. Looks like Hangman was about to hit the buckshot lariat, but Mox ducks out of the way. With Hangman then hitting Matthew. So that's going to be interesting. Moxley then grabs the tapes from Marina Shafir, goes to roll in the ring, but then the Ops are standing right behind Hangman Page. Mox thinks that's a bad idea, rolls back out, and leaves with the Death Riders. Then Hangman starts to run after the Death Riders up the ramp, but then we see the Young Bucks helping each other to the back. They pass by Hangman, with Nicholas saying, "What'd you do that for? We were trying to help you, blah, blah, blah." Then we have a little stare down with the Bucks, and then Hangman just celebrates because, moral victory, I guess. I'm going to say this. While this wasn't the greatest show in the world, what really put it over the edge for me was the crowd. The crowd in Arena Mexico was for absolutely everything. They were on their feet for everything. Like, they treat wrestling really well down there. And I'm going to say this, I want to experience that for myself one day. Be it in Arena Mexico or some, little arena somewhere down in Mexico. So, yeah, that is my review for This Week in Wrestling. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.